Did you know some secrets, though seemingly harmless, can put your entire life in danger? It's not always what others keep from you that's dangerous, it's what you accidentally reveal that can destroy you. In a world where every move, both online and offline, being watched, even a casual status update can silently turn you into a target. Some secrets are meant to protect you, but there are other things said in passing that can drag you into serious trouble. Not because you intended harm, not because you were careless, but simply because you trusted the wrong person at the wrong time. Here's the truth: the most dangerous information isn't what others hide from you. It's what you share without realizing the cost during a moment that feels safe. History has shown us how entire lives have fallen apart due to one poorly timed comment, one overshare, or one false sense of security. And today, with the world able to follow you both online and in real life, even the smallest details you share can quietly alert the wrong people. What's terrifying is that most of us don't realize this until it's too late. In this video, you'll discover 5 things you should never share if you care about your safety, your freedom, or even your life. These aren't the obvious things you might expect. They hide in plain sight, buried in everyday habits until the consequences hit, so don't scroll past. Don't miss a second, because just 1 minute of this video might be the one that protects you from danger. And if you care about protecting yourself and the people you love, hit that subscribe button. Stay sharp, stay safe. Let's begin with the first thing: never share your personal financial information. Think about the last time you saw someone post a photo holding their new house keys, standing proudly in front of their new home with a caption like "Finally a homeowner." Seems innocent, right? Social media teaches us to share our milestones. That joy should be posted and celebrated with likes, comments, and emoji-filled congratulations. But here's what no one tells you: that post revealed much more than intended. It exposed where you live, hinted at your financial situation, and showed that you've recently come into something valuable. You didn't just share a life achievement. You unknowingly handed out a map to your own vulnerabilities. I have a friend named Rachel, a single woman in her 30s, hardworking and self-made, who bought her first home a few years ago. It was a major achievement, and she had every reason to be proud. She posted a few pictures holding her keys, a welcome mat at the door, even a shot of the front porch with the house number barely visible in the corner. But what happened next? Let's move on to the next part, where that well-deserved pride led to an unexpected and troubling event. Rachel's story seemed like the perfect beginning, but sometimes joy shared too soon can quietly open doors you never expected. There was nothing dramatic or unusual, just a simple moment of pride after years of hard work. But within just 2 months of posting about her new home, Rachel experienced 2 break-ins. One happened while she was away on a weekend trip. The other occurred in broad daylight while she was at work. The strange thing, she didn't live in a high-crime area, and Rachel wasn't flashy. But unintentionally, she had sent out a signal: I have something valuable, and possibly not enough protection to guard it. That's the danger with financial information. The risk doesn't always lie in what you boot, in what you signal. A photo of a new car, a casual story about a recent bonus, or simply a post celebrating becoming debt-free. This can all act as breadcrumbs that lead the wrong person straight to you. We think we're just sharing moments, but what we're really doing is broadcasting opportunity. Not to close friends, but to opportunists. Here's a truth many find uncomfortable: someone is always watching. Not everyone, not always, but enough to create risk. And it's not just hackers or online scammers. It might be a co-worker you've only spoken to a few times, a friend of a friend at a dinner party, a stranger who notices your new watch, your designer shoe sand, quietly starts connecting the dots. We often picture danger as someone in a hoodie lurking in a dark alley. But in reality, it's a friendly smile paired with calculating eyes. Criminals rarely go after billionaires. Why? Because they're heavily protected cameras, security teams, lawyers. Too much hassle. But you're accessible. You have just enough value to make the risk worth it. You post vacation photos while still out of town. You share about your latest raise. You show off your new gadgets, your renovated kitchen, your luxury purchase, without realizing that each post adds another piece to the invisible profile someone may be building about you. The psychology behind this is simple. We believe the world is cheering us on, and many people are, but not all. Behind the congratulations, there are eyes that don't feel inspirati, feel entitled. Some people don't admire your success. They think they deserve what you have, and they don't care how they get it. This is where Stoic philosophy steps in. Silent strength, inner stability, the discipline to keep certain things private. The Stoics didn't flaunt their achievements not because they weren't proud, but because they understood pride doesn't need an audience. They believed peace comes from mastering yourself, your desires, your actions, your thoughts. When you adopt a Stoic mindset, you start asking, why do I feel the urge to post this? Is it for connection or validation? Do I want to share, or is my ego speaking? You begin to see more clearly. And from there you learn to value your privacy, just like a warrior values their armor. As for the second thing you should never share, it's even more subtle than financial details, and it often comes from the people closest to you. Keep watching to find out what it is. We just spoke about the invisible armor called discretion and calm. Not to hide from others, but to protect yourself. So what's the solution? It's simple in theory, but not always easy in practice. You need to start sharing with intention, not lying, not living in fear, but being more mindful about what you reveal and why you're revealing it. If someone asks how much you make, there's no need to be completely honest and no need to panic. Just smile and say enough to live comfortably. Then shift the topic. When you reach a big milestone at work, celebrate privately with the people you truly trust. If you've just bought something valuable, hold off on posting. And if you still feel like sharing, ask yourself, am I doing this for joy or for recognition? You don't owe anyone a play-by-play of your success. And the truth is, the fewer people who know about your finances, the safer you are. Not just from crime, but from envy, manipulation, and even avoidable legal trouble. Think of your financial details like your bank PIN. You don't hand it out unless it's absolutely necessary. And even then, you should ask yourself why. Because in today's world, survival often comes down to a single choice: what you reveal and what you keep to yourself. Oversharing might feel like connection in the moment, but once it's out there, you lose control over how it's used. Privacy is power, silence is safety, and discretion is your strongest shield. Use it now for the second thing. You should never share your location or travel plans. Have you ever felt that chill down your spine when someone knows exactly where you are, and you never told them? In the age of oversharing, many people don't even realize they've invited danger into their lives. We post from airports, check into coffee shops, tag locations in real time. Just a moment to share, right? But in reality, you're giving away one of your most precious assets, your real-time location. And in the wrong hands, that information becomes a weapon. I once knew a woman named Maya, newly engaged, full of energy and loved, documenting her life on Instagram. One weekend, her fiancé surprised her with a trip to Lake Tahoe. Maya was thrilled. She posted right as they hit the road, then shared the scenic views from their mountain cabin. On day 2, she uploaded a photo of herself, snowshoeing, with the caption, "No cell signal, no problems." But there was a problem. A man from her past, someone Maya had cut off months earlier due to concerning behavior, had been silently watching her posts. He followed the entire trip in real time. He knew exactly where Maya was. More importantly, he knew where she wasn't home. While Maya was wrapped in snow and laughter, her apartment in Sacramento was broken into. The thief didn't just steal valuables. He went through her closet, rifled through her drawers, with no sign of forced entry. What he wanted wasn't the items. It was the feeling of violating her privacy. And the big question now is, if it happened to Maya, could it happen to youth Britain? At Maya's apartment wasn't just about theft. What truly shook her was the feeling of violation, not just of her space, but of her privacy. The intruder didn't take cash or high-end electronics. He took something Maya never gave him: access, intimacy, and a disturbing sense of control. That's the truly frightening part, and something most people overlook. Not all threats are about money. Some are driven by obsession, possession, or simply revenge. And every time you share your real-time location, you're handing over a mapper direct route to your most vulnerable moments. This isn't paranoia. It's pattern recognition, a survival skill in today's world. We've become so used to broadcasting where we are, where we're going, and what we're doing, believing only our friends are watching. But the truth is, anyone could be watching. Social media doesn't screen your followers. That guy you met once at a party, that co-worker from 5 years ago, the anonymous account that just liked your last 10 posts, any one of them could be silently gathering information about you. And this isn't just speculation. Studies show that over 78% of modern break-ins start with social media surveillance. They don't need to guess whether you're home. You told them. You showed them. But the danger goes beyond burglary. It deepens when you accidentally reveal your daily routines. Your morning jog at 6 a.m., your Wednesday night yoga class, your late night walks when the city is quiet. These habits become predictable patterns. And if someone wants to find you, they don't need to ask. They just need to observe. So why do we feel the urge to share our location instantly? The answer lies in psychology. We crave validation. We want others to see that we're living fully, experiencing life. But that need to be seen is exactly what makes us vulnerable. Stoic philosophy reminds us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. Your personal safety is one of the few things you can control, but only if you stop offering your movements up for public consumption. The Stoics didn't need to perform to enjoy life. They learned to live fully without an audience. And that's the mindset we need now more than ever. When you live with Stoic awareness, you begin to realize not everything meaningful needs to be shared in the moment. You learn to delay gratification, to protect your peace. You start asking yourself, what do I gain by posting this right now? Who do I really trust with this information? The wrong person saw this what? Could I lose these questions to simpler, more powerful than any security system? They make you less predictable, less exposed, and far harder to manipulate. So what should you do? It's simple shift the timing. Post-trip photos after you're home. Share the dinner spot after you've left. Talk about routines only with those you truly trust. And most importantly, never tag your location in real time. Because the third secret, it's one you may have never considered, but it's one of the most exploited vulnerabilities out there. Keep watching to discover what it is and why you should never share it. And most importantly, never confuse caution with fear. They are entirely different things. Being cautious doesn't mean you're living in fear. It simply means you've matured, that you see the world as it is, not just as you wish it to be. We live in an age where even joy can become bait if shared carelessly. But when you protect your location, when you guard your movements, you're not just shielding yourself. You're reclaiming ownership of your life. You turn your life from an open invitation into something sacred, something intentionally guarded, because the most dangerous people out there don't need to break in. They just wait for you to open the door. And when you make your location public, you're not closing the door, you've already left it wide open. In today's digital world, privacy is the modern-day fortress, and the strongest walls aren't built out of fear, but with intentionality and strategic awareness. So be quiet, be careful, be stoic. If this message resonates with you, leave a simple yes in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts, because you're not just a viewer, you're part of this conversation. Now let's move on to the third, forbidden disclosure. Never share details about your home security system. You've heard the saying, walls have ears, right? Well, today, those ears don't belong to your friends. They belong to people who have no business knowing anything about your life. In a hyper-connected world where the instinct to share has been rewired by likes and attention, even a seemingly harmless detail can become a crack in your armor. And one of the most dangerous things people casually reveal is this: their home security setup, or worse, the lack of one. It often starts from a sense of pride of being responsible. Someone installs a new security system, motion sensors, cameras, smart locks. They post a selfie in front of the keypad with a proud caption like, "Finally upgraded the house, feeling safe." Sounds responsible, confident, even smart. But in reality, they've just published their defense strategy to anyone who might be watching with the wrong intentions. What was once your strongest defense has now become a public challenge, a blueprint for how to bypass it, because now the wrong person knows exactly what system you're using, and they can easily assume there's something inside worth protecting. Now, Flip the scenario. Some people go the other way, being overly humble. They downplay their protection. There's nothing to steal at. My place? I've never needed a security system. They say this at friendly gatherings or in neighborhood group chats. It sounds casual, light-hearted, but in reality, it's a silent invitation for trouble, because criminals like water follow the path of least resistance. They're not looking for a challenge. They're looking for a weak spot, a crack, an opening. And when you announce that you have no alarm, no dog, no neighbors keeping an eye out for you, that's not a harmless joke. That's an open door. Let me tell you a story about Greg, an old friend from college, and what happened when he casually shared a little too much. What comes next will show you why caution isn't pessimism, it's simply protecting yourself from what you never thought possible. Greg was the kind of guy who loved tech and wanted everything in his home to be modern and secure. When he and his wife moved into their new house with their young daughter, he proudly invested in a top-tier safe. Inside, he kept some cash and a few valuable heirlooms, including a vintage watch passed down from his grandfather. Greg was proud of the setup. During a relaxed chat in a home renovation Facebook group, he excitedly shared the brand of the safe, its biometric lock, even where it was hidden. Tucked behind my suits, like a Bond movie, he joked. He wasn't trying to brag. He was just excited to have done something smart. But only a few weeks later, while the family was out of town, their house was broken into. Here is what's strange. No one touched the TV. No one went for the laptops. Only the safe was missing. You don't need to be a criminal mastermind to guess what happened. Just someone patient to me, who quietly watched, listened, and waited for the right moment. And that's what most people overlook. Not all criminals are impulsive. Some are methodical, strategic. They observe behaviors, routines, and most dangerously the information you carelessly share online or offline. Greg didn't make a mistake by buying a safe. His mistake was talking about it in a space where strangers were listening. And truthfully, we do this more often than we think. We post house tours videos online, showing off newly remodeled kitchen stand, casually mention, "Oh, the bedrooms are all in the back." Far from the street, we joke with co-workers, grandmas, jewelry right in the nightstand. Or say, "I keep the gun under the bed just in case." It all feels so normal, relatable, like bonding. But in reality, we're handing people a blueprint for breaking into our lives. We give them the layout, the motive, and unintentionally, the green light. Psychologically, this comes from a deeply human place. We want validation. We want to feel like we're doing the right thing, that we're safe because we've taken steps. But true safety isn't performative. It's private. Stoic philosophy has been teaching this all along. Epictetus once said, be silent for the most part, or if you speak, say only what is necessary and in few words. This isn't just about ordinary conversations. It's a reminder to control yourself, to know what deserves to be spoken and what's better kept unspoken. To live stoically is to live with awareness that praise, admiration, and curiosity from others are not the measures of success. And especially, talking openly about your security, your valuables, or your weapons doesn't make you wise. It makes you vulnerable. The Stoics believed true strength is quiet strength. That power doesn't lie in what you reveal, but in what you choose not to. A fortress doesn't stand strong because its defenses are obvious. It stands strong because no one knows how to break in. So what should you do if you want to talk about your home while staying safe? Simple. Minimize the details. Only speak when truly necessary. If someone asks about your security system, a vague reply like "I've got things in place" is more than enough. If someone asks what valuables you have, steer the conversation away or keep your answer general. When talking about renovations, just share the result, not the blueprints. Because the fourth secret, which we'll dive into next, is one that many people get wrong and is often underestimated. But if ignored, it can cost you more than just safety. It could damage your reputation or even your freedom. We'll uncover it right after this. Learn to separate what feels satisfying to share from what's actually wise to share. Because once the wrong person knows what you have, how you protect it, and where you keep it, you've already given up the upper hand. You didn't lose control. You handed it over. And in today's world where information spreads faster than consequences, one careless post can lead to disaster. Your home is your sanctuary. It should feel like a fortress, not a stage for display. Keep your defenses silent. Treat your possessions as sacred. Speak less than that urge inside you wants to. And most of all, protect your privacy like you lock your front door, because in the digital age, it is your first lock. Now, for the fourth danger. Never share your personal or family vulnerabilities. When we talk about safety, most people think of alarms, locks, street smarts, or self-defense tools. But there's another kind of threat, far more dangerous and much more subtle. It's not physical, it's psychological. And it starts the moment you overshare your private struggles. This danger doesn't come with a weapon in hand. It slips in through seemingly innocent conversations, wearing the masks of empathy, curiosity, or connection. And by the time you realize what you've given away, it's often too late. This isn't just theory. It happens quietly every single day. I remember a story about Jordan, a kind, soft-spoken man in his 50s who had just finished chemotherapy. With good intentions and a desire to inspire, he shared his recovery journey in a local community group. People applauded his courage. But among the applause were eyes that didn't see resilience, they saw opportunity. Jordan lived alone. He was often weak. One night someone used that exact knowledge to break into his home. He was asleep, exhausted from pain medication. He never saw the intruder, but they didn't need to confront him. They already knew he wouldn't fight back. Here's the brutal truth: when you reveal specific details about your health, trauma, deep emotional wounds, or personal fears, you're giving someone a blueprint for how to hurt you. And not everyone who listens wants to help. Of course, the desire to open up is human. We all want to be seen, to feel understood. Vulnerability can be beautiful when shared in the right space with the right people. But in reality, most of us have been conditioned by society to overshare, to expose ourselves without enough discernment, and in public spaces that were never meant to hold that kind of truth. Whether it's a Facebook comment, a story shared at a party, or a get real moment on TikTok, too many people are revealing the most fragile parts of their lives that were never meant to be unguarded. And what's coming next? It's a type of oversharing, even more subtle than health or emotions. The kind that makes you vulnerable to manipulation without even realizing it. Keep watching for secret number 5, the final piece of personal information you should never share if you want to live strong in a world that's always watching. When sensitive details fall into the wrong hands, they don't just provide information, they open the door to manipulation. Imagine this: manipulators and predators don't always act out of immediate malice. They act out of strategy. And what they analyze is not your strength, but your vulnerability. Someone who knows you avoid confrontation will start testing your boundaries subtly. Someone who learns that you live alone and have limited mobility sees a path of least resistance. Someone who hears about an abusive ex, or a fear you once shared, or a deep sense of guilt you've been carrying now holds the perfect toolkit to custom design their manipulation of you. And this kind of damage isn't random violence. It's a targeted dismantling tailored specifically to break you. Even when you believe you're protecting others, your openness can sometimes put them in danger. 2. You talk about your elderly father living alone in the countryside. You joke about your child's after-school schedule. You mention that your cousin with a disability stays home alone during the day. It all sounds harmless, even sweet. But in reality, you've just handed out a vulnerability map, and without realizing it, you may have just put your loved ones at risk. The Stoics viewed personal sharing through a very different lens. They weren't cold. They weren't disconnected. They were intentional. Creepus once said the wise man will speak accurately and with restraint. He will confess not to everyone, but only to those who are suited to hear it. That phrase, only to those who are suited to hear, it is where true power begins. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach us to remain silent out of fear. It teaches us to be selective out of awareness. Not everything needs to be shared. Some pain, some wounds, some experiences are meant to be processed in silence or with someone truly trustworthy, not broadcasted to the world. To live stoically does not mean to live in isolation. It means you understand not every truth is meant for every ear. You recognize that protecting yourself is not a sign of shame, it's a sign of wisdom. That your vulnerability is sacred, and in the wrong hands it can be turned into a weapon against you. If you've been hurt before, if you're living with a health challenge, if you're healing emotionally after a loss, be thoughtful about who you open up to, and even more thoughtful about how you do it. Use private channels, talk to a professional, lean on those who have proven themselves trustworthy, and when you're in a public space, keep it general. You don't owe your pain to strangers. You don't have to explain your struggles to people who haven't earned the right to hear them. And if you feel the urge to pause and ask yourself, do I want to connect, or do I just want to be shined? Because sometimes what we really need is just one kind person to quietly say, I understand. But real understanding doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from the chosen few, and in the next section you'll learn why. Sometimes silence isn't just protection, it's the most powerful form of strength in a noisy world. Are those likes, compliments, and fleeting moments of feeling seen really worth trading away your entire personal defense system? You can heal without broadcasting it. You can connect without exposing yourself. You can be strong without stepping onto the stage of social media. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Have you ever shared something deeply personal only to regret it later? Has anyone ever used your openness against you? If so, share your experience in the comments. Your story might be the wake-up call someone else needs. Because in the end, safety doesn't just come from the ability to resist threats. It comes from not offering too much in the first place. The most valuable armor you have may not be your strength. It's your silence. Now we move on to secret number 5. Never share information that can be used for identity theft. When was the last time you really sat down and thought about everything you share online? Not just the obvious stuff, passwords or credit card numbers, but the seemingly harmless things. Throwback post about your first childhood dog. Comment mentioning your mother's maiden name while talking about family ancestry. A joke about the street you grew up on. It all feels nostalgic, personal, innocent, but in the wrong hands, these bits of information become puzzle pieces, a map that leads straight to your identity and your vulnerability. Imagine this: every personal detail you share online is a puzzle piece. One piece alone may mean nothing, but someone with enough patience and determination can collect fragments from posts, tags, comments, public profiles, and build a full picture. Not a picture of who you are, but a profile to impersonate you, to access your accounts, to scam your loved ones, to potentially destroy your digital life. The irony: most of this data wasn't stolen. You gave it away willingly, not because you were careless, but because we've been conditioned to believe means connection. Openness means authenticity, but not always, not in this world. Take Melissa, for example, a cheerful, tech-savvy young teacher. She loved answering about me quizzes on Instagram stories, favorite band, Pearl Jam. First pet's name, Lucky, hometown Dayton, Ohio. She even posted a nostalgic post about her first car, a silver Toyota Corolla, and a high school graduation photo, clearly showing the name of her school. What she didn't realize was that she had just publicly answered almost every common security question used to protect her email, banking app, and shopping accounts. Not long after, her inbox was flooded with strange activity password, reset attempts, suspicious login, alerts her bank card was frozen. She was locked out of several platforms. It took weeks and a cybersecurity expert to untangle the mess. But what hurt the most wasn't the technical frustration. It was the feeling of betrayal, not by hackers, but by her own unchecked openness. One cheerful post a day had quietly peeled away every layer of security she thought she had. And in the final part coming up, we'll recap all 5 things you should never share and explore how to live with awareness in an age where anything can be turned into a weapon. Get ready for the conclusion, where silence is not just golden, it's essential for survival. This is how identity theft works in the modern world. Forget the Hollywood image of a hacker in a hoodie typing away in a dark basement. Today, it's often just someone quietly collecting pieces of your life, publicly available, left behind unknowingly over months. They don't need to break in. You left the door open. They simply walked in. And the chilling part isn't in each tiny detail. It's what happens when those details come together. A casual comment revealing your birth month. An old yearbook photo showing your high school mascot. A light-hearted joke class of 2007. A tagged photo of your brothersome last name. Each piece might seem trivial, but when assembled, they begin to reveal your age, hometown, family, network, and, in many cases, enough to reconstruct parts of your social security, number, or craft highly personalized scams. And once they know which bank you use or what financial apps you prefer, they don't need to guess. They'll replicate those. Platforms send perfectly crafted emails, and you'll click on something that looks like just another routine notification. This is the moment when Stoic thinking becomes not just wise, but essential. Marcus Aurelius once said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That clarity of action applies just as much in the digital world. Stoicism is about self-discipline, about controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. And you can control what you share. You have the power to choose silence over impulse. You can pause before you post and ask yourself, who benefits from this information? Who could exploit it if a stranger with bad intentions saw this would? I still hit post alive stoically means to treat your personal data the same way you would your physical body, with respect, with boundaries, and with an awareness that exposure has consequences. It reminds you, you don't owe the world your full story, especially not to faceless eyes, always watching, always collecting. You can live fully, you can connect meaningfully without exposing your blueprint. The solution isn't paranoia, it's precision. Use false answers for security questions, ones only. Don't post about the apps you use for banking or shopping regularly. Audit your digital footprint. Delete what no longer needs to live online. Tighten your privacy settings. Make it difficult for strangers to build a version of you that you never consented to. You lock your front door every night, almost without thinking. Your digital life deserves the same level of vigilance. Melissa didn't get hacked because she was reckless. She got hacked because she trusted a system that rewards openness and punishes discretion. And if you've made it this far, then you already know true. Safety isn't about running from risk. It's about recognizing risk and choosing silence as an intentional act of strength. That is Stoicism in the digital age.